This is Sandra. Sandra was a young orphan girl, all alone in the world. She had no family, no siblings, no one to depend on, just herself and the little hut her late parents left behind before they died. That small hut, made of mud and thatch, stood at the edge of the village like a silent witness to her lonely life. It wasn't much, but it was home. Ever since her parents passed away, Sandra had been struggling to survive. She was still very young when it happened, but life forced her to grow up fast. She didn't have anyone to help her or guide her. So she started working hard from an early age. Every day she would go to people's farms, bend her back under the hot sun, and do any kind of job she could find, planting, weeding, harvesting, just to earn a little money to feed herself and buy small things she needed. The money she made was never enough, but Sandra never gave up. Even when she went to bed hungry or woke up weak, she always believed that one day her life would change for good. She held on to that tiny hope like a treasure in her heart. Sandra was not just strong. She was beautiful. Her skin was dark and smooth, her body was chubby and well-shaped, and her smile could light up the darkest day. Whenever she stepped out of her hut, men would turn their heads to look at her. They admired her beauty and whispered among themselves, wishing she could be their girlfriend. But Sandra was different from other girls. No matter how poor she was, she had made up her mind. She would never defile herself or give her body to any man just because of money. She knew her worth. She believed in dignity, in self-respect, and in true love. She believed that the right man, the one meant for her, would come one day, and he would love her for who she was. So, when men came with sweet words and empty promises, Sandra turned them away. She didn't even let them touch her. She guarded her heart and her body like a sacred treasure. Every time temptation came her way, she reminded herself of the promise she had made. I will wait. I will not go astray. I will not sell myself. I will keep praying to God, and one day I will meet the man who was made just for me, my missing rib. Even when people laughed at her or called her foolish, Sandra stayed firm. She would return to her small hut, kneel beside her mat, and pray quietly into the night. She prayed for strength, for protection, and for a better tomorrow. She knew that her story wasn't over yet. And so, Sandra continued her quiet life, strong, faithful, and full of hope, waiting patiently for the day her destiny would find her. One cool evening, as the sun was slowly sinking behind the trees and the air was fresh and quiet, Sandra sat outside her small hut. The ground was calm, the wind gently touched her face, and the sky above was slowly turning gray. It was one of those peaceful evenings where the world felt silent, and thoughts began to speak louder than ever. Sandra hugged her knees and looked into the distance. She was talking softly to herself. I have kept myself pure from childhood till now, she said. I have never allowed any man to touch me. I've suffered and struggled alone, yet I still kept myself. I just pray that when I finally meet my husband, he won't play with my heart. He won't joke with me, he will see my value and love me truly. As soon as those words left her mouth, something strange happened. Out of nowhere, an old woman appeared right in front of her. She didn't walk from anywhere, she just appeared. Sandra gasped and jumped to her feet in shock, her heart pounding in fear. She stared at the woman, unsure of what to do. The woman looked very old, her face full of wrinkles, but her eyes were calm and kind. Don't be afraid, my daughter, the old woman said gently. I am not here to harm you. I've come to help you. Sandra's mouth was slightly open in confusion. Her hands were still shaking, but she didn't run. Something in the old woman's voice made her feel a little calm. I don't understand, Sandra said, breathing heavily. Relax, the woman replied. I see your heart. You are a good girl. You have kept yourself pure in a very dirty world. That's rare. And because of that, I've been sent to guide you. If you want a perfect husband in this world full of lies, cheating, and heartbreak, you will have to mold him yourself. Sandra blinked, confused. Mold him? She asked slowly. I don't get it. Do you mean with my hands? Like clay? Please explain better. I'm very confused. The old woman gave her a soft smile. Yes, with your hands. Get a clean lump of clay and start molding the kind of husband you want. Give him the face you desire, the body you like, the strength, the heart, and the character you dream of. Mold him exactly how you want your husband to be. After that, marry him. Then, wait and see what happens next. Trust me, my daughter, It will work. Sandra was silent. Her heart was racing with many questions. Was this a dream? How can a clay figure become a real person? What does all this mean? She looked into the old woman's eyes and said, I still don't fully understand, but if you truly say this will work for me and it will lead me to joy, then I will do it. I will try. The old woman nodded slowly and stepped back. Believe, and you will see, she said. And just like that, the old woman vanished, disappeared into the air as if she was never there. 1 second she was there, and the next she was gone. Sandra stood there, frozen, her mind spinning. She looked around, hoping to see the woman again, but there was nothing, just the sound of the wind and the quiet evening air. She slowly sat down again, placing her hand over her chest. What just happened? She whispered to herself. Did I just see a spirit? Or was it real? Still confused and shaken, Sandra stared at the empty space where the old woman had stood. Deep inside, she felt something was about to change. Her heart was nervous but curious. Could this be the beginning of something new? She didn't have all the answers, but one thing was clear. She was going to mold her husband, just as she was told. The next morning, just as the sun rose and the village began to wake, Sandra walked out of her hut with quiet determination in her heart. She remembered everything the old woman had told her the night before, and though she was still a little confused, she had chosen to believe. She went to the back of her hut and gathered clean, smooth clay from the ground. Then she found a quiet corner near a tree, sat on the bare earth, and began her strange task, molding her husband. At first, it felt strange, shaping clay into the form of a man. But with every stroke of her fingers, Sandra poured her heart into the work. She shaped his head, his broad shoulders, his strong arms, and his gentle face. She added the smile she always dreamed of, the kindness in his eyes, and the warmth she longed to feel. She whispered her wishes as she worked. You will love me deeply. You will be faithful. You will be kind and strong and protect me. You will be everything I prayed for. As the hours passed, people in the village began to gather. Some stood at a distance, some came closer, but all of them laughed. Look at her, molding clay like a child. She's truly gone mad. This girl is playing with mud and calling it a husband. She's a disgrace to this village. Sandra heard their voices, but she said nothing. She didn't stop. She kept molding. She remembered the old woman's words, "Believe and you will see." For days Sandra continued her work, ignoring the mockery. She worked under the hot sun and even in the soft evening light. At last, after many days, the clay figure was complete. And it was beautiful. It looked just like the man she'd imagined in her dreams. Tall, handsome, calm, and strong. To everyone's surprise, Sandra held a simple wedding ceremony. She wore her mother's old gown and stood beside the clay figure. Alone, with no family or friends, she said her vows and called him her husband. The villagers shook their heads in disbelief. She has completely lost her mind, they said. Imagine marrying clay. Poor girl, she needs help. But Sandra didn't care. Her heart was full of peace. She had obeyed what the old woman told her. And after the ceremony, something happened that made the whole village fall silent. Right before their eyes, the clay figure began to move. First his hands twitched, then his eyes blinked, then slowly, right there before everyone, the figure turned into a real human being. Not just any man, but a young, handsome, perfect, and rich man. He had smooth skin, bright eyes, and a gentle smile. The villagers gasped. Some screamed. Some ran. Others fell to their knees. Sandra stood still, her eyes wide with shock. The man turned to her, smiled, and pulled her into a warm embrace. "My beloved," he said softly, "it's me, your husband, the one you molded, the one you waited for, the one you believed in. I love you. I belong to you, and you belong to me. I will love you forever." Sandra's heart melted. Tears filled her eyes. She hugged him tightly, and for the first time in a long while she felt completely safe and loved. In a few days, they left the village. The villagers stood by the roadside watching in silence as Sandra and her perfect husband got into a big, beautiful car. From there, they flew to the United States of America, where her husband owned many businesses and properties. Life changed completely for Sandra. She had suffered, she had struggled, she had been mocked, but now she was living her dream. Her past didn't matter anymore because her present was full of joy. In their new home in America, Sandra and her husband lived a peaceful, happy life. They traveled the world, supported the poor, and never forgot where they came from. And through it all, Sandra remained the same pure, kind-hearted girl she had always been, now a queen in her own palace. Moral lessons. Never give up on your values. Even when the world mocks you, faith and obedience can lead to unexpected miracles. True love is worth waiting for. People may laugh at your journey, but they won't laugh at your destination. God never forgets those who hold on with clean hearts and pure intentions. Thank you so much for listening to Sandra's beautiful journey from pain to purpose, from struggle to joy. If this story touched your heart, please support this channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing. More powerful and inspiring stories are coming your way. Stay with us, and let's grow together. God bless you.